We wanted to like print a bunch of designs on t-shirts and kind of start an apparel line.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out, but all of the designs were still saved from that line, and we were going to call it Man-Eating Tiger. All of these designs are from that initial concept. This one is like based on a Hokusai print, and then this one is based on a Liechtenstein, I don't really know. But yeah, we wanted to choose a bunch of artists also that had influenced New York specifically. He goes around and asks for like locations and stuff, and then I am the one who paints them.
Originally we were going to do sugar skulls with like Mexican patterns, and then we were kind of like, well, everybody's been done. It's like, is there a way to do something that everybody knows, which is a skull, but do it differently?
A lot of them are like art historical references, and especially references that are like New York City oriented. That was another thing we really wanted to focus on. I think there's always going to be kind of that line between like what is determined as commercial art and what's determined as fine art. One of the fun things about street art is that you don't really have to have that conversation, because you're just putting up something that you think a lot of people will enjoy. And apart from it being like an advertisement for, you know, Man-Eating Tiger and the street art collaboration, it's really just something that people like and kind of makes them happy. It is kind of nice to have it here because there is so much street art. And I guess the same can be said for like the Lower East Side too. Like, it's a street art hotbed, and there's so many different opportunities to paint down there. Like, I definitely want to start painting more down there. I think it's always been a valid profession, but there's so much opportunity for it now. Whereas before, I think it was like very much strictly a hobby or something you do on the weekends. And I think that's really,
I think it's
really
happens
cool.
when the area gets nicer. It's kind of like people don't want to just like do that. You know, they're like, oh well, it's kind of getting nice around here. Like, how can I? You know, I think you have more potential for people to notice your art.
But people really like that too. I think people just like images that grab them and are either colorful or really graphic, and also people like taking photos in front of that type of art. And I think that's another part of, if you're going to make art that's for the public, you have to, it's good to make it, you know, colorful and fun and kind of keep it light because it is in a public space, unless the point of your art is to like send a really specific message. I think street art is kind of, I don't want to say that it's higher art, because I think there's a lot of like validity to graffiti and tagging, but it's just different. Like, it's something that, you know, you do consider who the viewer is, you do consider where it is, and it's a little bit less about you and more about the art itself. Whereas graffiti really is coming out of a culture that wants to just be, like, have their names heard, as opposed to street art, which I feel like is really about kind of the aesthetic value of it specifically.